If I remember right, the first time I ever played golf was back in 1970. I was stationed in Vietnam, and we went on a 2-week R&R to Hong Kong. And a good friend of mine I was hanging out there with, named Tony Mendoza, said, "We gotta go to Hong Kong and play golf. We're gonna be there for 2 weeks." I said, "Yeah, right." Well, we end up at the golf course in Vietnam, the first time I ever played golf. All right, 35 years later, two of my best friends that I grew up playing ball with, basketball, football, skiing, everything, call me up one day, say, "Hey man, we're gonna play golf tomorrow at Pico Rivera." I said, "Golf? I played that game before. Is that the game you follow, the little white ball?" They said, "Yeah, come on buddy, we're gonna play golf." Started playing golf with them. At first I was a little rusty, but I've come to learn, they told me, enjoy yourself, relax, be yourself. There's no winning, there's no losing. Kind of got the hang of it, started playing more often, and these guys made me feel really welcome on the golf course.
The physics of the golf club relies on the different degrees that are in the lofts. They all do different distances for each club and meant for a certain purpose. Usually on a long course, the golfer will start off with the driver. These club distances are based on my approximate distance of what I could hit. A professional can normally hit a lot farther than 220 yards. A 3-wood would be your secondary club, meaning after you hit your driver you are stuck on the grass. And when you're on the grass, you will normally project your ball with the lower degree 3-wood that will launch you the further distance. The 5-wood is generally the same as the 3-wood, but only on a shorter distance. You could also use both these clubs on a shorter tee. Over the course of years, companies have made these clubs that are called hybrids. They are in between the woods and the irons that are coming up next. They do almost the same amount of distance as a wood, but just a little bit shorter. But they are used for a multi-diverse game. As the degrees of the golf clubs are slightly increasing, the yardage are dropping in the clubs. The 4-iron is usually a low club, which is also used for long distances, but not as far as the wood or the driver. The 5-iron is the breaking point between the irons and the woods when it comes to your short game. They still can hit for quite a distance, but they're normally a shorter club. With the clubs that are gradually increasing, so is the shaft of the clubs. They become smaller and smaller, and the balls start to lob more and more. When you approach the higher clubs, such as the 7 and so forth, you are able to lob the ball more if you turn the club with an open face. You will get to The 9-iron is the last club of the number series. The clubs work in irons such as 3 through 9. Next we have our pitching wedge. This club has a really low loft, which is mainly used for short range shots that pop in a lollipop projectile. And we have our sand wedge. This is ideally still a loft club, mainly used for sand shots, but it is also still very good for shorter range than a pitching wedge. The projectile is a lot more higher than a pitching wedge and is used preferably over a pitching wedge for some golfers. Here is an example of the sand pit. It is usually good to have a clean face on your club. The small speck of dirt can send the ball flying in the most slight degree, which will cause the ball to either splice, go left, or hook, go right. It is very crucial to have a clean club for every hit. Lastly, out of the wedges, we have our loft wedge. Now ideally you could hit it 65 to 80 yards, but it's really intended for hitting 25 to 30, sometimes even 10 yards. It is really used to get a dead stop when landing on the green. Aside from approaching from a distance with a full swing, you can also chip. Chipping is actually an approachable tool that helps the golfer get closer to the green without having to risk a full shot. Here is the final club that is used to end the hole, the putter. Some say it has no loft degree, some say it has 1, sometimes even 2 degrees of loft. The putter is a flat club that is used to roll smoothly on the low green. The putter is very temperamental, and even at the wrong speed, it can cause the ball to pop out of the hole. It is so temperamental even the slightest hill can cause it to change direction at the last moment.
There's a little thing about playing golf though. This is how relaxed I am, and this is how I just play my own game. That they say people go their whole lifetime without making a hole in one. Back in 08, 11, on Veterans, right around Veterans Day, I made my first hole in one. That's how relaxed I was. An Arcadia golf course. I believe it was 119 yards on the 16th hole. That's how relaxed I was. I was playing with my boy Arthur and Pachito. Yep. A year later, in 2009, on the following hole, the 17th hole, it's 107 yards. I made it a second hole in one. So I made 2 holes in ones, and all I do is just go out there, relax, and enjoy myself. Let myself just be myself, and don't worry about being Tiger Woods or competing or something.